All right, people, back. Today is Thursday. Been busy today. I had to do a video on another website. I took some pictures, and today I give you another college football video. This will be the last time I do school versus school, and the very last college football video that I do is going to be player versus player. I promise you, as soon as I figure it out. All right, today's episode is going to be Ohio State versus Penn State. Now, these are two college football programs in their own respectable right, have won championships. The history of Ohio State is that they've won 8 championships, and the last time they won a championship was in 2014. Now, this is by far the best program on the East Coast. Now, here is a history where the city ain't exactly won anything in professional basketball. You got the Cleveland Browns NFL football team that, they ain't won a championship since 1966 or something. But when it comes to college football, Ohio State is the be all to end all. They're bigger, they're stronger, they're faster, they're the best program in Ohio. They've won 8 championships. The last time they won was in 2014. And they've had a lot of future NFL draft picks come out of that program. A lot of quarterbacks, a lot of quarterbacks, wide receivers, defensive tackle. They've had a lot of football players from the NFL come from that program. And this team has been in the top 10 for the last 10 years. They've been in the top 10. They're by far the best program. And they're still today by far the best program. There hasn't been anybody today that has been able to knock them out of the top 10. I mean, they can compete with Alabama. They can compete with Michigan State. They can compete with all these other superpower college football programs because they're known for playing offense, defense. They can play on both sides of the football. And quite frankly, the reason why they haven't won championships since 2014 is because they've had to hire and fire coaches. And yeah, there were a couple of scandals that came up on this program, guys that took some unnecessary money. And you know how it is. If you're taking money and you're playing college football, then that's not good. A lot of these guys would get fails, D's, and that makes you ineligible to play for the rest of the season. And then a lot of these guys wanted to play for Alabama, so they would lose some of their best players. Some of their best players want to go to the NFL. Some of their best players want to play for other schools. And then some of these guys would get kicked out of school for bad behavior. And when you got scandals that take place, it ruins your program indefinitely. In this case, it's just guys want to play for Alabama. Guys want to play in the draft, go to the NFL draft, and guys failing classes. So it's a combination of the three on why Ohio State hasn't won a championship since 2014. I do believe that somewhere in the future they will make another run at the championship because they're still in the top 10, so they're not finished improving. They're going to get future players, and they're going to go right back to kicking ass and taking names and remind the world why they're a dominant force. Now, as for Penn State has only won 2 championships. You're going to find this funny. The last time Penn State won a championship was in 1986. I was born January 19th, 86. Now, they won 2 championships, but the sad thing about this program is that this program has been around for years. They had one head coach that took them to the championship game a total of 15 times in a 30-year span. In 30 years, they went to 15 championships in 30 years. But they only won 2 championships. And the reason for that is there's this sick, perverted ass, what, who likes to get off on doing things to people in the locker room and ruin the college program forever. I mean, every time somebody says the name Penn State, there's this big ass black mushroom cloud that looms over the university. Now, their coach died of a heart attack 6 years ago. I think 6 or 7 years ago, the coach died of a heart attack because he got criticized in the media for letting this thing go on in the program for so long and not stopping it. And, you know, when you're like 86 or 87 years old, your heart can only take so much. So tragically, the coach died. The assistant coach got fired. The staff got fired. They brought in a new coach, a new assistant coach, and a new staff. And the sick, perverted son of a bitch is now going to do 20 years to life without the possibility of parole. So you see what this done to the program. So originally it wasn't 2 championships. It actually was like 2, or it was actually like 3, maybe 5 championships. But because of what happened to the program, they did some more digging, and they found out that some of those championships that they won after 1986 were if you remember what happened to the Michigan Wolverines when Chris Webber and them college basketball team, they erased some of the wins out of that book. This happened to Penn State too. And that's why the last time they won a championship was in 1986. But you had a coach that took you to 15 championship games in 30 years. So you do the math on why they have 2 championships, and then you come to the conclusion that this school hasn't been the same ever since. I mean, they've tried to make it back to the championship game for the past 7 years, and all 7 years, no luck. And that black dark cloud is still hanging over the school, and they haven't quite recovered from it. And I believe it ain't going to be until the year 2020 that the school actually does recover from it 100%. Some of the players that were at that time, a lot of these guys had a hard time getting picked in the draft because of that. And a lot of the guys that try to leave this program and go to schools like Alabama and LSU, a lot of those guys had a hard time getting put on those teams because of that situation. So when I say there's a black cloud that just looms over Penn State, what I'm saying is to this very day, this school still can't get over the fact of what was done to this great program. This program was so great that they were on the same level as Alabama. Now they're struggling to even do good. I mean, they're in the top 10 because of their new head coach, but they haven't won since that incident. So that's all we can say on that. Now, who's better? I would say Ohio State by leaps and bounds is much better than Penn State. Like I said, Penn State is not going to return back to its glory until 2020. So this is a video. I hope you like it. I didn't want to make it too long or too short. I promise you in the very next one, it will be player versus player. No longer coach versus coach. No longer school versus school. It'll be exactly what it's supposed to be. Player versus player. Until then, peace.